Thank you for joining me, and a big thank you to all the new subscribers and, of course, longtime subscribers, but a lot of new subscribers the last few days. I appreciate you being part of this weather community to keep me going. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. All right, watching the remnants of Eric. I'll cover that. Two tropical waves in particular, one right in through here that just passed by the ABC Islands, moving by parts of Puerto Rico and the U.S. British Virgin Islands, and another tropical wave back behind it that will approach Trinidad and kind of working its way into Guyana as we go throughout the day, and more back behind that. You see here kind of a sloppy looking picture, nothing organized at this time. The chance of development is gradually going up, which makes sense though, right? We're getting deeper into June. We're going to start to see some stuff developing on the Atlantic Basin side. But right now, while there's some areas of rain, Venezuela, Colombia seeing that, Haiti, the DR, we could get a couple showers. Jamaica, we could have a couple storms around and still kind of on that windy side. No signs of development in the short term, but here's one tropical wave and the second one right here that I'm watching, but more out there too. Look at this tropical wave starting to hang together. Right? There's been some dust and dry air out there. Another one back behind it, a new one coming off the coast of Africa. So just about a week ago, it was really not a whole lot out here. Now we're starting to see the tropical waves hanging together with that. As we get deeper into June and then next month, of course, we'll start to get some name systems developing, and we'll see where those go and where they don't go. And we'll cover that right here on this channel. Got you covered as we get through hurricane season. Now, as far as the names go, the Atlantic Basin side, so the Gulf, Caribbean, and Atlantic, there has not been a name system yet. It looks like we could get through this month without a name system, which is not unusual. It's so early in the hurricane season, but Andrea is the first name on the list. On the flip side, sometimes when one basin is quiet, the other one is active, and that's what we've seen in the Eastern Pacific. Alvin, Barbara, Cosme, Dahlia, and of course Eric, which was a Category 4 hurricane in the Eastern Pacific, and then it made landfall yesterday that we were tracking together. 5 named storms already on the Eastern Pacific side, but it's usually very quiet this time of year, not for the flooding, which I'll show you that. We're going to see a higher chance of flooding. I'll show you the rain totals, where these tropical waves are moving in this video. But as we work our way into July and then more so August, September, October even, we've seen over the last few years activity all the way into November. That's when we get into the bulk of hurricane season. Yes, storms are going to develop. There'll be named hurricanes. Let's just hope we don't get any big impacts. That is the hope. I do not root for storms, but I'll be watching everything for you carefully. Now, this is as we work our way really through the end of June. This is a look at the European model, and it's showing a little more green in the Western Caribbean, which is saying about a 40% chance of development, tropical development. I am not seeing signs of tropical development over the next week or so, but things are starting to tick up. We're starting to get some brighter colors. The models are hinting at the chance of development, more so most likely on the Eastern Pacific side again, but there could be something that tries to lift a little bit to the north. We'll just monitor that because we have these new tropical waves moving in. So it's really the time to kind of start to see if anything does want to spin up. Now, the heavy rain, the flood threat, and we'll get into these totals in a minute, over toward the Bay of Campeche, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, even Costa Rica. Spotty storms, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Jamaica, watching Haiti and some gusty winds. And there's some of the rain. We're going to keep an eye on that flood threat. Again, I was giving you the heads up that late in the week, and the weekend in particular, we'll start to see that flood threat returning through parts of Trinidad, just keeping an eye on the rain. It'll be a close call on how much lifts up to the north from Guyana, and then spotty storms, northern Caribbean, but that heavier rain, look how it builds again. This here is by Sunday. We'll get the new tropical wave, a couple more that will be getting closer to the Eastern Caribbean. We'll keep an eye on St. Lucia and Barbados, but look at that rain building. Most likely, most of this shifts off toward the west, but some of the models have been hinting at trying to drive this a little bit more to the north. Point being, I'm just going to watch this, but as we work our way into next week, let's get into Monday. Here comes another tropical wave near St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Grenada, and Trinidad, and the rain once again builds near Honduras, Nicaragua, watching Providencia, San Andres, and then a better chance of even getting some scattered storms in the northern Caribbean. Nothing organized, but Jamaica, as we get into next week, for example, we could get some stronger storms, a couple around the Cayman Islands. So you see here on Tuesday, it's unsettled. settled. We're starting to see more areas of rain, right? More thunderstorms around, and then we'll start to watch out for some signs of development. But look at that rain chance in the southeastern Caribbean, rain building again in Central America, and just monitoring the Gulf just to see if any of that rain lifts to the north, because if it does, there could be a little bit of development. So watching that as we get into next week. Plenty to cover, and I'll zoom back to the rain totals island by island in just a moment. Atlantic region of Canada, New England, one system moving off that brought the severe weather yesterday, especially back toward the mid-Atlantic. But watch this. System working in toward British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest. That actually helps to draw up some of the remnants of Eric. Nothing organized, but just so amazing how the weather's tied together everywhere. Now, Ontario and Quebec, a chance of severe storms. Great Lakes as we work our way into our Saturday, giving it a heads up, parts of Canada. But then as we work our way into Sunday, this system starts to dive in, and with that, it kind of ties in some of the moisture from the remnants of Eric and feeds in. So especially back through the foothills over toward the plains, a severe weather threat, not a big slug of moisture, but also monitoring the potential of some flooding back toward parts of New Mexico, and yet again another area near Nova Scotia, watching over toward Cape Cod with that chance of rain pushing by Sunday as that area begins to leave. Now the seas will stay on the elevated side, that strong easterly flow with us. A lot of us have been windy, the tropical waves moving in. So throughout the Caribbean and the Atlantic passageways into next week, nothing crazy high, but definitely on the bumpier side. And then on the eastern Pacific side, a better chance of some development, so the seas will be higher. Now, in through here from Florida back through Cuba, isolated to scattered storms the next 2 days. So if we get one, we could get 2 to 3 inches of rain, 50 to 75 millimeters of rain. Same thing as we work our way through Jamaica. Not all of us are going to see rain. Same thing in the Cayman Islands. But if we get a thunderstorm, it could be quite gusty, right? We've had some stronger storms the last few days in spots. Haiti, the DR, Puerto Rico, the same thing. Rain chance isn't super elevated, but we'll have some storms. A lot of heat energy out there, a lot of lift in the atmosphere because it's hot. It's, again, pressing deeper into June. Spotty shower Dominica, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, still some of that dust mixed in. But this will be a concern as these new tropical waves move in. I'll see how much rain kind of lifts to the north and kind of tries to move toward Grenada and Trinidad. At least on the south side of Trinidad, higher rain totals will be a potential. So we'll watch this together, but even into next week, that's when the flood threat will be higher for Trinidad, Guyana, as well as these move by. Clipping by Suriname and parts of Venezuela. The rain's going to be building in, even Colombia. And then look at these totals. Eastern sections of Honduras and Nicaragua, we could have some totals over 100 millimeters of rain, right? It's just going to continue to build in. Watch out for any development, but just building in. Belize, we're going to continue with kind of an active pattern. As promised, we started to get into that, and we'll see that. Scattered areas of rain. We could have a few spots of 75 millimeters plus over the next few days. Mexico City, the flood potential. Watching that in and around Mexico City, the remnants of Eric. East coast of Mexico, coming off the Bay of Campeche, just kind of that fetch of moisture around the leftovers of Eric. And you see how it lifts up to the north, just a sliver it trying to get into parts of New Mexico where there could be some flooding. We'll monitor that. Elsewhere, very hot across parts of the southern U.S. with some isolated thunderstorms. So rain chance will be building, especially as we get into next week. A better chance of scattered storms that could be strong in Jamaica. I'm going to track that more in upcoming videos throughout the weekend. Cayman Islands, we're bumping up to a 40% chance on Sunday. Isolated chance of a shower today. Scattered areas of rain the next few days, Trinidad and Tobago. But where we get it, we could get some flooding favoring the south side. So watching these tropical waves very carefully. There's going to be a lot of moisture in these tropical waves. Sunday in Barbados, rain chance gets up to 50%. Just isolated today in St. Lucia, but we're up to 50% chance on Sunday. We do that again in Grenada, and then everything kind of climbs as we work our way to next week. Bigger tropical waves starting to hang together, 30 to 40% chance through the weekend, St. Vincent the Grenadines, and a 40% chance through the weekend in Martinique. Isolated shower passing by today and tomorrow, 30% chance in Dominica. Same thing as we work our way back through Guadeloupe. Antigua, Barbuda, rain chance stays low, but gradually bumping up slightly, but generally staying on the low side. Same thing, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, 20 to 30% chance of a shower, and mainly dry in Anguilla and St. Bart's. Not to say we can't get a passing shower, just not a high chance. 20% chance today. St. Martin, Saba, and Stacia. Scattered storms in Puerto Rico. I mentioned that. Where we get some, we could get some flooding, right? For a 30 to 40% chance the next couple of days. Some could be strong. And even today with that tropical wave moving by, the elevated chance of rain, British and U.S. Virgin Islands. I'll be watching your comments. Could get some of those scattered showers around Bahamas. We're looking at a 30 to 40% chance, holding on to a 20% chance through the weekend in the Turks and Caicos, and then starting to build some in the Dominican Republic by Sunday. About a 50% chance an isolated shower or storm the next couple of days in Haiti, Belize. Scattered areas of rain. Point being, we are now staying unsettled. We'll watch out for some pockets of flooding. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, that chance of some rain again with this first tropical wave moving by. More tropical waves ahead, up to a 40% chance of some rain tomorrow. There's that 80% chance, especially northern Guyana with that chance of flooding. About a 60 to 70% chance in Suriname this weekend. Cuba, scattered storms around, especially by Sunday, and that elevated 70 to 80% chance. Costa Rica and Panama, especially Costa Rica, with that higher chance of rain. Monitoring the flooding, as I've been pointing out, in Nicaragua and parts of Honduras, especially far to the east and far to the west. In between will be a little bit drier, but watching out for some flooding. An 80% chance, very unsettled. Guatemala and El Salvador, those rivers are dangerous in many spots. In Mexico City, as I mentioned, that flood threat gets higher. And then the Yucatan Peninsula, Merida, Cancun, Cozumel, Campeche, we're going to see a better chance of scattered showers and storms this weekend into next week. Watching the flooding parts of Colombia and Venezuela. Some of that flooding could be significant in some spots. Meanwhile, Bermuda just getting clipped by some fronts. So we have these tropical waves on the move, new ones moving in, holding together. I'll monitor for development, not seeing signs of that right now, but that increased flood threat is coming our way through the weekend. I will watch that with you through the weekend. I'll be updating some videos. I'll have more information for you through the weekend as these new tropical waves start to slide in. Thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a great day ahead.